whatever the culture, a lot of young people feel that there are barriers in the way of them fulfilling their potential, which creates a lot of angst, and I think that's what I found here. I mean, I notice in conversations with young business people, students here, some don't even realize it, but there's this anxiety and angst in them at knowing that they have this potential and feeling that there are people putting barriers up to them fulfilling that potential. And one of the things that I try personally to do, and I think it's important for older leaders to do, is to find ways to lower those barriers so that young people can move ahead and contribute more to the society than we currently allow them to do. And that's true in the U.S. I mean, it's not unique to Zimbabwe. If you think that the old gray hairs here in the U.S., you might be surprised to hear that the problems are very similar. We old folks don't like to step aside too easily.
You've mentioned a little how, people who are older need to work at reducing the barriers, but is there anything that you think young people can do to, work to bring those barriers down or work around the obstacles that they see in front of them and to help them fulfill their potential and dreams?
So every coin has two sides. While I think older people have to recognize the energy and desire to achieve in young people have to exercise a little patience and understand that it's really difficult for older people to change. And one of the things, and I actually run into this is culture shock with some of my younger staff. I happen to be a computer freak, and I've always been in love with computers, and most of my younger staff are accustomed to older people who barely know how to turn a computer on. And you have to recognize that among people of my generation, it is rare to find someone who even understands what you're talking about. I'm on Facebook. You should see the reaction I get from colleagues of my age group who say, "You're on Facebook?" Yes, and I tweet. But you have to recognize that this is not something that is natural or easy for our older generations to do. I mean, you all, even here in Zimbabwe, grew up with computers. To someone in their 60s in general, a computer is this strange thing that beeps when you get near it and never does what you want it to do. Literally, a lot of older people are afraid of computers because they don't understand them. And they don't understand you and your ease and familiarity with it. And that's threatening. And one thing that you really have to learn as you're encouraging people to do what you want them to do is you have to introduce these changes very gently. Change is threatening. It's unsettling. It frightens people. And the real key, and this is a leadership technique that works for any age, you don't want to force change on people. You want to keep talking to them until they get where you want them to be, but leave them thinking they got there of their own accord.